Hi everyone, welcome to Anton R91's YouTube channel, and today is going to be a video on how to repair and replace the wheels on a Tripp luggage suitcase. Right, well first of all I'll go through the list of tools required to complete the job. It's about a 30 to 40 minute operation to remove the existing wheels, drilling out the rivets, replacing the new axle bolt through there, and finally reattaching the side casing to the suitcase itself. So first of all, if I take the camera off the tripod, I'll go through the tools. So you'll need a drill and you'll need a suitable selection of drill bits. You'll also need a hammer, a couple of Phillips screwdrivers, a centre punch and some Allen keys. Now, to show you the condition of the wheels that were on my case, this is one of the side casings which has already been removed. And here we are with it on the case. So as you can see, there is a centre rivet here, and there's a plastic casing, and the wheel has lost its rubber casing there. So the ground clearance to the floor, as I'm sure you guys watching will know, is very minimal, and you'll find the case scrapes on anything that gets in between the two wheels there. So what you're going to be doing is replacing them for wheels such as this, which actually fit on very well, a very similar size. And over here I have a case that I've already done, which you can see here. The wheels are already mounted, and you can see what it looks like, and we can actually see that they spin very, very well, and it's actually silent as it goes along the floor. So there we are, the list of the tools and what we're going to be doing. Okay, so in addition to the tools required for the job, I'm going to go through the parts that are needed to actually replace the wheels. So of course, first of all, we need a set of wheels. Now, the spec of these are 80mm diameter, it's about 24mm width, and they've got an 8mm diameter centre hole through the middle there. Now, but these wheels have a bearing on either side, which is typical for a scooter setup. And now you also need an axle pin or axle bolt to go through the middle, as we are going to be replacing the rivet that originally went through. Okay, so I have these. These are barrel style centre axles, and they also have an 8mm diameter barrel, which is 40mm in length, which is the perfect size to go right through the middle there with no play at all, and that spins freely. And it also then goes through the 8mm diameter hole, which is also on the casing. So that goes through there, and then it leaves a bit of exposed barrel, if we turn that around like you can see there, and that's where the two washers will go, which we'll get into in a minute where they come from. And then you're putting that in that side, and then there we go. We have, once that's tightened up, we then have the working wheel on the case. So let's get to the stage where we remove the side casing first. Okay, so some of you may be asking, why am I doing this in my kitchen as opposed to my workshop? Now, there's a reason for that, which will become apparent a little later on in the video. But first of all, we've got to work on removing the housing for the wheel, this, and in order to get to the rivet that is on the inside of that housing and remove the wheel itself. Now, just remember that I have already removed this one like this, so we'll work on the other side, and I will be holding the camera, so there will be some shakiness, I'm afraid. So first things first, Open up the case and there is a lining with a zip, like that. So we've got to unzip that and you'll be immediately faced with these white pieces of plastic in the corner with about 6 screws in. Now I've already undone this side, so what you do is you remove the bit of plastic and you'll then be able to peel this part off. Okay, so if I come around to this side, you'll be able to see that this one is how it will look when it's all screwed on. So these are just little fabric protectors so the screw head doesn't tear any of your inner lining. So if you just remove those and I place them down like that, and there's another one here which you just remove that as well and place that down, and there we go. You can see the 6 screws there that have to be undone. So the first job is undoing those. Okay, so once you've removed the 6 screws that are holding the side casing on, then come around to this side, and here we go. Here's the casing, and there we go, it just falls off. So this is then what is underneath. This is, as you can see, there's the rim of the rivet there, and most people would probably look at that when it's on the case and think game over, have to buy a new set of cases. Now that is definitely not the case, and I would no way have got rid of these. The inside is in very, very good condition, and the outside, in fact, apart from the wheels, and they're not the cheapest cases in the world. So my option was, right, how can I replace these? And there we go. So that's what's in there. Now the next step we're going to go through is to drill away the lip of this rivet. Now this is where the sink and the water and the kitchen is involved. So there we go. Right, so in this part is where the kitchen is involved, because we are having to drill out the lip of that rivet. Now to do that, you're going to need the drill, and we're going to need some different sizes of drill bits. So be very careful, because we are going to be drilling this metal, I think aluminium, or some alloy mix of metal, and we're going to be drilling away that rim. And now it goes through a plastic centre hole and housing. So the reason we're going to be using the kitchen is because we're going to be running this under cold water whilst we do it. Now I'd like to add that there's an element of danger with this part, because you're mixing electricity, the drill, with a running tap. Now there are different ways to do this procedure. You could submerge this in a bowl of water and then drill through the water, obviously not allowing the drill to get into the water, but the drill pieces should be long enough for that to work. I actually use the tap on the smallest trickle that you can get, even less than that, like so, and have this like that, and then I'm drilling at an angle like this away from the water so that none of that gets into the drill. So if I can move this tripod around, you should be able to see what I'm doing whilst we're going ahead. Also, I'll add, before we get going, that it's crucial to have the drill bit that is big enough that it will actually take away the lip and not just drill straight through the hole there and miss the lip altogether. So for basic engineering skills, just line a very basic way, just line your drill piece up along the side, and if you see that the drill piece covers the whole area, the whole width of that, like so, then you're okay. If if it's, for instance, too small like this, you can see that would actually not work. So let's align the tripod for this. Okay, so now we're at the stage where we're going to drill out the end of that rivet. I'd also like to add that you will get a lot of metal shards and burrs created from this. So it is advisable to put the plug in so you don't get that going down your drain and clogging the place up. And you can then discard of what's in there after you've done the job. So if I zoom in just a little bit here so you can see what's going on. Right, so get the tap running very, very gently, and the key thing is you don't want to be going too fast with the drill, as you don't want to heat this up enough to melt the hole, otherwise you'll find that the centre pins don't align and you've rendered that piece useless. So tap goes on. And we start. Now, keep taking a look at it just to see how close you are, and then carry on. There we go, there's a pop. Rinse that off, and as you can see, I hope you can see it's got a bit of a drill hole in the washer there, but that's no issue at all, and the head has gone. So now we can turn the tap off and begin the next stage. So now that the drilling is complete, it's very important to remove the drill bit and give it a good clean and a wipe, because the water will corrode and rust the piece. And do the same for the drill. Any surface splashes that I've got on there, give it a bit of a once over. Okay, so for this next part of the video we will need the hammer and a centre punch, and you'll need a surface that you can hammer onto, which is why I have this wooden deck put on top of the kitchen counter. So first job is we have to remove the centre pin that goes through this. Now we've drilled the lip away from it. So this part can be a little bit tricky, as it can be difficult to get the centre pin out of the casing. So put the centre punch in the hole, get the hammer and give it some firm taps, and then you have to try prising the back off. So every time you tap, you're pushing that centre pin further through and out the other side. Now this may take some time. So once you've got the pin out, you'll notice there's a washer in here, this, and there's also a washer which is directly on the other side of here, which is there. These two have to be kept for later use. So what you're doing is you're pulling this washer off, and here's the pin, and the pin will come through. So the next job is to get that off. Okay, so in order to get this next washer off, because there'll still be a little bit of a lip, I don't know if you can see that if I put that right in front of the camera, there's a little lip on the outside of here. Just a bit of brute force is needed, so I usually put that near the end, get a lever in there and put it in there, put that up to the top, and there we go. Off she comes. And remember to hold on to both of these as they are for later use. Right, now once that is off there, further down, this pin should just fall out, and there we go. That's the wheel that's now no longer needed, and that's what the centre pin looks like. There we go. So we're now ready for the next stage, which is to mount the new set of wheels with their centre axles, and this requires again 2 more tools. Right, so the tools needed for this section of the video are 2 identical Allen keys, and these are to fit in the side of the axle and this side. Okay, so now you can mount this either way. You can have the barrel and the part it's attached to on the outside of it going through, or you can have it on the inside. I chose to have the adjustable screw on the outside if I ever needed to tighten it up again. In my understanding that when this is attached to the case, this will be pressed to the side of the case, therefore when screwing this in it won't spin the rest of this, but that's just my theory. So first of all, we get the casing and you mount one of the washers on the back. Now what you may find is that this being 40mm is ever slightly too large, so you may need to get some additional washers just to pack it out with, but we'll come to that. So first of all, I've got 1 washer in there. I'm putting the barrel through like so. Then make sure you have another washer now that goes on first, so that the metal part of this wheel won't wear down the plastic shoulder here. Then that should just slide on, and as you can see, we've got a little protrusion there. So what that means is I can pack the back out, therefore you won't get any larger, the wheel won't sit any higher, and you won't have to pack anything out on the front here either. So take this off, add another washer like so, put that through again, add the washer here, add the wheel, and there we go. That is about perfect. Okay, then you can add that should spin freely. Okay, and then you add the bolt to go through, screw it in as much as you can, and then you're going to get both Allen keys, one on this side, one on this side, like so. It's a bit hard to do this while trying to keep it in the camera, and in fact just start to screw it up so it gets silly tight, and I do these up quite tight, but not thread stripping tight, but you want to do them fairly tight. Last thing you want is that coming loose as you're on holiday somewhere and you haven't brought your Allen keys with you. And now there's two ways of mounting this wheel. You'll notice there's a shiny side and there's a rougher side, and that really depends on the wheels you get. When I say rougher, I mean actually it's a flat side and there's a more rounded side. It's best to have the rounded side facing outwards. So once you have the first wheel on, make sure it's got it'll have a little bit of movement, but make sure it spins freely. As I said, you've probably had to pack it out with one washer at least. And right, then you go on to the next one, and you do exactly the same thing. You place one washer in the back, and we found out on this one that it actually requires two. You then put the barrel through and put the next washer over there. Then remember, there's the flatter side and you've got the rounder side. I have the rounder side out, and then you're putting the part in there, tightening it up by hand, and it's the same process as we just did. Now it's crucial that these wheels roll well, and you can change the bearings in these wheels, as they are standard scooter wheels. They take standard scooter bearings, same as skateboard style wheels. And then just do up and check the way it rolls. Okay, so the second to last stage of this video is mounting these wheels, newly attached wheels and their casings, back to the case. Now the issue is that they won't go straight on because we've now got a protrusion out the back, which it didn't have before. If you remember, that this rivet had a tiny little lip in there, but nothing much, and you've now got this that sticks out. So if you notice, it'll go on, but there's a gap there, all along there. The front you can get on, that fits fine, but the back, there's now a gap. So what you have to do is, using a pen, you have to mark out where this sits, and it will be just between these two holes here, and you've just got to drill a hole that's the size of that through the side of this casing. Now remember that there's a white bit of casing and plastic on the inside of this case, so take this out first, because you're not drilling through this, you're just drilling through the outer casing. So again, get the drill piece and match it up to the size of the head of this axle here. So tools required for this job is the drill piece and the drill again. Now there are two ways of marking out where this head actually sits, so you don't end up drilling too many holes in the side of this. Ideally you only want the one. The more experienced engineers of us will, among us, will know that measuring the distance of this and measuring the distance of this, they can pinpoint exactly where the centre hole should be. If you don't want to do it that way, or don't know how to do that, there is a slightly easier way, which is a bit more crude, but it does work, and it's to actually fit the front two. So just put it in, line it up, and then if you put some pressure on here, what you'll notice is that it makes an indentation of the inside of the other head of this on the case, and that's where you know the hole has to be drilled. So you've got to put some real pressure on it, so I suggest putting the case on the floor and pressing on it quite hard, and you'll get the indentation of the head of that onto the case. Okay, so I've put the case on the floor and here we go, I'm going to make the indentation. So, I'm going to put it on like so. I'll really press, and when you take it off, there we go, I'll take the camera off so you can get it. If you can make it out, there's just a tiny little semicircle just there. And that's where we're going to drill. So I'll put this back on here. Okay, so we've got the drill bit and the drill. Now line it up. Again, you want to press a bit hard just to start with so the drill bit doesn't wander too much. There we go, there's the first hole drilled. Okay, take it off. We can see there'll be a bit of this plastic inside the case, so you'll have to give that a clean out after. But that's the hole. And then just line this up and see how that fits. And if it doesn't quite fit, then you'll just have to wiggle the hole or use a bigger drill piece. But I think we've got a near perfect fit. There we go. Once that's screwed on, that will pull that in and be really, really nice and tight. And we obviously just repeat the same process on the other side, removing the white plastic parts and pressing down, making the indentation, and then drilling through. Okay, so we're now on the last stage of repairing and replacing the wheels on this Tripp travel suitcase. So the last bit is to reattach the wheels and their housing to the case. Bring this like so. And obviously remembering to insert the inner plastic part as well. I have all the screws here. Just remember which order they go in. It may be good to take a photo at the beginning of which ones will go where, so then you can review that at the end, and you're simply just screwing them back in. It's as simple as that. So okay, so here we are. The wheels are now reattached on both sides. They're screwed in thoroughly, and there we go. You can see the wheel spins silently, and everything's looking good. I purposely got white wheels because I thought they would go with the blue quite well. Obviously, you can get any colour, any size you like. Perhaps slightly bigger wheels could have been a little better, just to get a little bit more coverage of the wheel arch behind, but that's not important. The main thing is it works. Just remember that when you're doing them up, I'll just place that down for a few seconds. Don't forget to reinsert the white bit, and to put over these protectors, these sort of felt sticky pads that protect these screw heads, or protect this lining from touching the screw heads and ripping. And there we go. That is one complete case. This one's slightly noisier. Could be the bearings aren't so good, but they can be changed. It's not a hard job to do, and I don't really care about that at the moment. The main thing is it works. It works very well. So let's do a very quick roll test. Okay, so we are now at ground level and I am going to roll the case. Okay, so that is one complete Tripp case wheel replacement and repair. Thank you for watching the video. I would love any comments you have on any of the work that I've done and the case that you have and the case that you're going to repair. So please comment, like and subscribe for any future videos. Thank you very much.